Good afternoon and welcome to the January 22nd, 2019 Lake Don Pedro Community Services meeting. If the secretary would please note, all board and staff is here and accountable. Board and staff is here and accountable. Board and staff is here and accountable. And if you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Good afternoon. Call meeting to order, and if there's any public comment on any items that's not on the agenda, would you please come forth and give me your comments? Once? Nope. Okay. We'll move on then. Just out of note, Happy New Year to everyone. It's the first meeting. We're going to have a good year, I hope. And with that next meeting, if everyone would please make a note, it might be moved from the typical third Monday to Wednesday, February the 20th. If you could let Cindy know your availability, she'll follow up and we'll go that way. But I was told this morning that we need to move that meeting, the regular meeting, to a special meeting on February the 20th. So if everybody would make note of that, I would appreciate it. And as far as my report, I'm going to turn this over to Pete and keep us going here. So Pete, you're up.
Okay. The only document related to the GM report that was written for the packet was the leakage summary, and I'll tell you, it's Randy and I have gone over and over these numbers because we had to pump a lot of water into the system to be able to do the well sampling that was required. We had to do the annual sampling for the wells for mineral, physical, all of the water quality characteristics, and so the wells were pumped. And the readings show 33 acre-feet between the three wells operating for the month. Good chunk of water. However, we didn't treat that much water. So in other words, that water went into the system by the meters out of the wells, and of course went into the raw water tank, but we don't have any documentation of any overflows related to the raw water tank, and the amount of water consumed by the treatment plant was less than the 33 acre-feet that went in from the wells. Some of it went out the leak on the raw water transmission line because it does pressurize that line. That line's pressurized all the way to the level of the tank and all the way down to the control valves at the intake. But there may be more to the problem than just the leak. If it's put in 33 acre-feet and the loss shown is extremely large, we need to hold the control valves at the intake suspect. Go ahead, Russ.
There's no check valve on the inlet of the tank?
There is.
Well,
not at the inlet to the tank. It's got to fill the tank. It's got to fill the tank.
well, I mean, okay, a check valve down at...
It's got to. Are you talking about down at the intake?
Flow back down to the pump.
Yeah, it should lock the water. There is a check valve at the pumps at the lake, but the leaks that are in between the tank
Right.
and the check valve.
But just before it goes into the tank, if you have,
There's a check valve there as well, but the way
Yeah,
the way that that's designed is like a push and pull system where we take water from the wells over the lake and fills that, and we can also, it also comes out, back out of the tank to fill Gregor's Pond. So there's a big circle, there's a loop set up in that piping, so we can come in and go out.
that seems deficient.
But it's still, it's pressurized. But there's not a direct means for it to drain back down into the lake without having a valve in an incorrect position or a control valve, check valve that isn't closed. Okay, so looking at these numbers, we've got some investigation to do because I guarantee it's not all coming out of that leak unless that's a 200 gallon per minute leak around the clock, which I don't think it is, because that's a 2-inch pipe flowing full.
So that would indicate then that the water coming back through would have to come back through the main, which has a leak in it.
Correct. That's the leak that I addressed in my report, the one that's been there for
Right.
3 or 4 months, and we're at the mercy of PG&E on that. So, I'm not going to say it's not possible that we're losing 200 gallons a minute out of it, but I mean that's a lot. But I don't think that leak over there, if you've seen it, it doesn't look like it's 200 gallons a minute. But
Unless we have more than what we can see.
correct. And what we have seen when it was exposed was a significant amount of water, but we couldn't go any farther without, some kind of worrying about that pole falling over. So it was just put back, and it could get worse. They don't get any better. If you got a rusted out hole, that hole's gonna keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You know what I mean? And that's what we're dealing with.
Randy, there is water running underneath that road, I think,
Yeah.
because I walk down there every day, and I can see from when it first started, you can see the road now is wet.
Yeah.
And we've had rain the last few days, but I mean, even before that.
Yeah, before the rain, because I noticed it as well. We met a couple times with PG&E trying to get something going to get that repaired, and they don't deem it an emergency because there's no threat to that pole falling over if it sits undisturbed. But if we were to go out and disturb it by trying to fix that leak, then it would be an emergency. But if it explains it in my report, we're kind of jumping ahead of Pete's. But in my report, it explains that in order for them to come out there and help us, because it's not deemed an emergency, we have to pay for them to do that. And we have to give them a 50% deposit up front. Once we give them that deposit, then they'll give us an approximate day. They can't even tell us when they'll be able to do it. But then they will come out after we pay them, give us a date. They'll come out and hold the pole up for us. And after we make our repairs, they'll make the determination then if they want to move that pole or not. And I argued with them tooth and nail because it's pretty evident that they put the pole on top of the pipe. We didn't put the pipe under the pole, you know what I mean? And they said that's of none of their concern. They don't care to help us unless we have to.
Well,
So,
if that was my leak, I would guarantee you I would have that fixed. I would be sitting on PG&E's desk until they got it fixed. I mean, we need to get that fixed.
I expected this conversation. I've made a total of 12 phone calls to them. I've left voicemails for the person that is responsible for our account and his supervisor. I've had no calls back. I've emailed both of them. I've received no response to my emails, no even acknowledgement. I mean, I can send it with a read receipt and I see that they read it, but they're not responding. I guess I could drive to Merced and decide to not leave until they've acknowledged me, but they're going to give me the answer that they gave Randy. I mean, I've been there with it. They're going to tell me that they will send a crew out at our expense to deal with it.
So what would be that cost?
A day's labor for them. It's getting to the point now where, again, I'm not going to assume that 200 gallons a minute's coming out of that thing. I don't think so. But even at half of that, it's worth it to do it. You know, it's hard to spend the money to just throw it at PG&E for them to stand there and can wait for us, but this is, we've got the contractor ready to go, and
That money is in your budget, though. I mean, that's not gonna stress you out too much to actually do it, right?
we'll.
I think right now we're losing more money in water than we are for a day or PG&E,
Yeah.
you know?
And paying the electricity to waste the water.
And, it could very well be leaking that much. Maybe not 200 gallons a minute, but maybe close to. Because every month, other than last month, because we had to run all the wells for the sampling, those wells are designed to run continuously at 85, 95 gallons a minute. And we used to be able to see the raw water tank with the treatment plant not running. We could see the elevation rise, because we constantly have to run one well or the other. We're not seeing that anymore. It used to be able to, the tank would fill, and then we'd start the treatment plant up, drain the tank, shut the plant down when when it was necessary, and then let the well fill the tank back up. We're not getting that once or twice a day anymore. Now it's like once a week. It's taking a lot longer to fill that tank running the well. So there could be very close to 100 gallons a minute or more coming out of that leak.
I'm still concerned we'll find another place that's not a leak, that's malfunctioning. But that I just wanted to bring your attention to that. It's 25.72 acre feet. I'm pretty comfortable with that number. I don't think it's exact because we haven't had the influent meter serviced, and the influent, when I say influence into the treatment plant, effluent is out of the treatment plant. Those two meters showed a big difference too. It showed that we treated a lot more water. A lot more water went out to the system than came in from the influent meter, which is an anomaly. So we've got issues with the meters as well. But that's the other things that have been going on, like I said, other than increasing the number of persistent calls to PG&E, is also attempts to contact our friends at F&S houseboats, and the next step is to take legal action against them.